Gail Merhair was appointed an independent senator in the 9th Republican Parliament and served from 17 December 2007 through 8 April 2010. It was the latest accomplishment in a career marked by a determination and commitment to self-development and creating a better society in Trinidad and Tobago.
I think national service is not only serving in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago or becoming the president of an association or the head of a chamber or president of a medical association. I think our role in Trinidad and Tobago should be that we all have a small part to play. And it doesn't matter whether you are a teacher, whether you are a policeman, whether you're a fireman. I think that duty to Trinidad and Tobago has to be that we always should think that how can I serve better? How do I make my brothers and sisters of Trinidad and Tobago better? And what can I do?
Merhair walked the walk of national service herself. She served as president of the San Juan Business Association, passionately representing the views of the business community.
Gail Merhair became the voice of San Juan Business Association. Many times when we had to deal with government situations, with infrastructure, with policy, with different things that propelled the association, Gail was on the forefront and the voice to the government bodies, to the regional corporation, to different aspects of San Juan business. So she has been a prominent and direct person pointed at San Juan business.
Whatever she believes in, she becomes very committed to it. And that means she gets energetic and she delivers whatever she sets out to deliver.
It was her fervor in representing the views of the business community, not just in San Juan, but nationally, that led to Merhair being appointed to the independent bench of the Senate.
I was the president of the San Juan Business Association for 5 years, and I decided at that point in time that it was just time for me to step back out of public life a little bit, because there were certain goals and objectives that I wanted to attain from a personal level, one being my master's, and also to develop further my business in terms of expanding my business. So I wanted to place a greater emphasis on my business at that point in time. So when I got the call to serve, I was more focused on my professional development and more on my business. And so it took me by surprise. So there was no plans to go into further public life from after being president of the San Juan Business Association.
I remember Professor Max Richards, when he was president, we were discussing the independent bench, and he did confide in me in a general way that he chose Gail Merhair as a senator to bring a fresh breath of air in the Senate. And she did, believe me, bring a fresh breath of air many times in the Senate, sometimes quite surprisingly. So I think his expectations in Gail Merhair were properly confirmed.
And when she was appointed as a senator, I think she did her yeoman service in dealing as an independent senator on the bench.
Well, for the period she was there as a senator, a new senator, she exerted all the effort to serve the country. She would prepare, I think, meticulously from my observations, and she would make pro-business contributions, I believe, coming from a business background. So she did serve the national interests in terms of presenting the business sector view, which is a very important view for our national economy, and she did so quite effectively. So I think that would be her paramount contribution in the Senate.
Merhair did much more than just represent the views of the business community. She sought at all times to help shape a better Trinidad and Tobago.
There was this private motion that I debated on and it was passed on March the 28th, 2010. And it had to do with honoring or paying tribute to former leaders of Trinidad and Tobago. So I think it was the private motion for national gratitude. And in it, we made I made some recommendations, which I found that it was necessary at the point in time, and it still is, because I think what happened is that another colleague of mine went on to pilot it recently, but it was in fact passed by the previous administration, and I think they were just going to put some things in place. But basically what it dealt with is that all the former leaders, president and prime ministers of Trinidad and Tobago, I found that it was necessary for us to pay tribute to them, to pay homage to them.
The epitome of an independent senator, Merhair was guided by her love of country and a desire to play her part in creating a better society for us all. Strength of character and dedication to country were the hallmarks of her time in the Senate. It was an opportunity to learn and contribute at the same time.
She took advice readily, but her search for advice diminished as she grew in her own experience. So she is a quick learner, a very quick learner, and of course her business background proved that she was an enterprising individual, and that served the Senate very well.
People agreed to differ, and differ in the sense of not on personalities, differ on policies, procedures, principles, and you are allowed to do that. And that is what I think that those are some of the remarkable things that I would remember, having that relationship with people and making that difference, even if it was a small word that you changed, but you made a difference in a bill, and you said yes and you said no. And I think that is what I would remember most.
In accepting the call to service, Merhair, in many ways, charted a course that others could follow. Fearless in her convictions, this graduate of the Arthur Lockjack Graduate School of Business is an exemplar and a role model.
I find a diminishing number of persons putting themselves forward for national service. And Gail has been an example. She has come out, she has braved the weather, as it were. And my own wish is Gail examples could be properly followed by other young women, either in or out of the business sector.
We need more people, more women to come to the forefront, because we have seen in the past how many women enter business and how many will propel to go to the top. Gail is at the fore in that area, and she will encourage many young women to join the business sector and to be a part of the hierarchy of the business community.
Yes, she has been a mentor to me as an elder sister, and as a career woman, yes.
Merhair's personal attributes, as demonstrated by her strong convictions, guided her at all times.
Individual, courageous, quite outspoken. And even before she came into the Senate, as the president of the Samoa Business Association, she did show that kind of mettle.
I think she'll be remembered for her passion and her drive to stand up for what she believes in and to actually say what she believes in terms of from an independent perspective.
We need to find a way to get children interested about us, about Trinidad and Tobago, about who we are, where we have been and where we want to go. And if we cannot do that, then we lost our society as a whole.
Gail Merhair, the first of 3 girls born to Ramcharita and Sita Merhair. She grew up in humble circumstances to become a giant on the national stage.
It wasn't difficult for her in terms of adjusting because she had the background in terms of applying herself to what she believes in.
And she was quite impressive. She was a relatively young senator, new first appointment, but she grew quite quickly in terms of her preparation and in terms of understanding the protocol required in the Senate.
Every part that you follow in life always changes you a little bit. It refines you, it makes you better. So I would say, yes, it did. It helped me to be more tolerant, to have a greater appreciation of the bureaucracy, and to have a greater appreciation of how things work. And it allowed me to really and truly contribute at a national level, which I was extremely grateful and humbled for.